Vancha kalpatarubhascha kripasindhave patitanam pavanibhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha anantakoti vaishnaviniki ki jai Go Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Good morning or afternoon or evening, whatever time it is where you are, and welcome to all the stalwarts. Stalwart is someone who has a foundational understanding of what's important and then sticks to it using his or her good intelligence provided by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We're just back from the Dham, and I've been missing Japa Jolt and checking in to see that it's going on. And it's extremely edifying to know that. Thank you very much, everyone, for keeping it going. And one point I wanted to make today is about sankalpa. And it comes from a root word in Sanskrit, klipt, which means to be fit, proper, or well arranged. And then san is a prefix which gives a sense of completeness. And there's three words in definition of the word sankalpa. They can be rendered well arranged, prepared, or ordained. So the chanting of the Mahāmantra is all of those. It's well arranged. It's coming from Shastra. And when one performs it with a prepared mind, then there's all success in the chanting of the holy name. As far as being ordained, I like to enter into evidence the verse from Shukadeva Goswami in the second canto of the Bhagavatam, where he says, Etan nirvidyamananam ichatam akatobhayam yoginam nripanirnitam harirnam anukirtanam. And in that verse, he says nirnitam, which means that this has already been vetted many times. In other words, it's ordained. It's not something that you have to research. If you follow the system of authority, Shukadeva, who's accepted by all the sages at Naimisharanya, says, there's the one thing that everybody agrees on everywhere, and that is that there's all success for everybody, no matter what position of life you're in now, by the chanting of the holy name, which is a real godsend, isn't it? Because there are millions and millions of ideas about how to improve oneself, how to find happiness and stave off misery. But there's one vetted means through which all perfection, all satisfaction, all success can be achieved by everyone, whether you're a king or whether you're a person who wants liberation or whether you're a person who wants pure devotional service. Everything is perfectly available through this string of gems called the Mahāmantra. And so it's important because if we start with sankalpa, remembering these different aspects of the holy name, we can give our heart and soul full attention. And in that matter, when I was just in Māyāpur, one of the events during our stay there was the opening of the Prabhupāda Museum. So I went there by invitation, and one of the aspects that I was treated to was a couple of Godbrothers that I hadn't seen in a long time were sitting outside the museum talking, so I joined in the conversation. And one of them said to me, my aspiration in this last stage of my life is to realize the verse of Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura that there's nothing else to be had in the 14 worlds except the holy name. And of course, I've heard that many times before, and I've also quoted it myself. But hearing it from a Godbrother who's serious, a stalwart, had a special effect on me. And it became a meditation of mine. And it made the chanting of my rounds even more relishable, because I was thinking, where else is there to go? There's nothing else to be had in the 14 worlds except the holy name. And full permission just to be completely present with the Mahāmantra, and what's more, to put it at the very top of my list for priorities is to hear, chant, remember the holy name, and don't worry, everything else will be obtained by chanting the holy names without offense. So with that, maybe we can do our sankalpas, starting with the Bhuta-shuddhi. I'm by nature the eternal servant of Krishna, but by misfortune, due to being inimical towards him, since a time immemorial, I have been wandering within the cycle of birth and death in the material world, being burnt by the threefold miseries. Now, as a result of some unimaginable good fortune, by the mercy of my spiritual master, I know that I am an infinitesimal living being, completely apart from the gross and subtle body. Now, by the order of my spiritual master, I have obtained the good fortune of serving his lotus feet, as well as the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan. Naham Bipro Nacha Narapatir Napi Vaisho Nashudro Nambarni Nacha Gripatir No Varasto Yatirava Kintu Prodyan Nikila Paramananda Purnam Ritabder Gopi Bartu Parakamalayor Das Anudasa. I'm not a Brahmana, I'm not a Kshatriya, I'm not a Vaishya or Shudra, nor am I a Brahmachari, a householder, a Vanaprastha, or a sannyasi. I identify myself only as the servant of the servant of the servant of the lotus feet of Lord Sri Krishna, the maintainer of the gopis. He is like an ocean of nectar, and he is the cause of universal transcendental bliss. He is always existing within with brilliance. And my sankalpa for this morning is to remember that this string of jewels, chintamani gems, chintamani gems that transform one's consciousness and life, known as the Mahāmantra, is the only item of value within the 14 worlds. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita, Gadadhara Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna. Shraddha Shabde Vishwas Kahe Suridan Nashchoy Krishna Bhakti Koila Sarva Karma Krita Hoy. This dependence, complete dependence on Krishna, and the realization that life is simple when you dedicate yourself to Krishna. And when, to the slightest degree, I depend on my own strength, it becomes very complicated. Even a trace of independent consideration from serving Krishna leads to a seemingly inordinate set of complexities. Whereas, astonishingly, the more I depend on Krishna, the more wondrous, fortunate circumstances unfold in my life. Because Yogakshema Mahamyaham, I realize that when I put myself in Krishna's hands, I'm in competent hands. When I stray mentally, physically, it starts mentally, then I put myself in the torturous hands of Maya. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, just wake up and put yourselves in Krishna's hands, N-H-E-S Shodi Maya. The medicine is the holy name, and the ultimate goal is the holy name. And you can express yourself fully and openly to the holy name. Nobody else can you do such revealment, because not everyone understands us like Krishna does. He's Kavim. He knows us. He knows everyone. He knows everything. And you can be fully honest with him. You might as well be, because he already knows you. And so just open your heart when you chant and say, Krishna, I can only depend on you. You're the one who knows me. You're the one who can make all arrangements. And if you can make this statement to Krishna, that I don't want anybody else or anything else but you, then immediately you feel satisfaction. And Prahlad Maharaj told his classmates, the moment you start thinking independently that I'll make my own arrangement, just the consideration itself takes us into a world of bewilderment and a sense of insecurity and fear. So this chanting of Mahāmantra, it can go on 24 hours a day. You don't have to just say, oh, I finished my 16 rounds and that's it. Try chanting all the time in your mind. Keep taking shelter of Krishna. He's the one guiding us anyway. Any intelligence we have to do anything is coming from him. So if you keep coming back to the holy name as your mainstay and your only shelter, then you feel always happy and satisfied. And it's really important to make progress in spiritual life. Consider all those ways in which you can invest your time and energy so that you become more advanced. How much more facility, how much more can you be connected to the Shastra, to advanced devotees? How much more can you give yourself to this prayer, meditation, and so forth, so that you're connected with Krishna? And that's the goal of life. Any thoughts or considerations or realizations from your chanting today or before? Ram.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you so much for today's Japa Jolt. I was thinking about something that you talk about a lot, which is to have a little bit of remorse when you have some sort of guilt, but not too much that it hinders your progress to your ability to progress. So like sometimes I notice today when I do a few some amount of chanting, maybe a round or two, and it wasn't as focused as I wanted to be, then having a little bit of remorse, but not too much that, oh, my chanting is just bad and it can't get fixed. But it helped me to just, once I realized that, try and make the next few mantras or just go one beat at a time and try and make it a little better. So that concept was really helpful for me today. And I was thinking, one thing that you mentioned in a class somewhat recently was like in the Shastra, it says that we can progress and it was written for us. So if we just think we're permanently unqualified, then the Shastras would not be correct. So that helped me. And is there a verse, by the way, for the like a little bit of remorse, but not too much? I think there was, but I can't remember it. But yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, it's the verse Jata Shraddha Makkatasu Nirvina Sarvakarmasu. Akshara Nitai, or someone, can you look it up and put it the number? Veda Dukkha Makankamam Parityage Janishvara Tato Bhajeta Mam Prita Shraddha Lord Nishjaya Jushamanamshta. Oh, you already found it, Ram. Okay, good. So, yeah, Garayan, that's the last word in the verse, means a little bit. Don't become neurotic and start telling yourself you can't be done. Krishna's the most competent parent and wants us to succeed. These misconceptions of God as a punishing, harsh, uh, and cruel being are misunderstandings of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He wants our ultimate good, and he's always there to help uplift us and to give us the exact right circumstances so we can improve ourselves. Devotional service is an exciting challenge every day. And just as we try to improve ourselves in many other ways, the most systemic and holistic process is to improve oneself in one's relationship with Krishna. Everything's available through that. Do not fear, do not worry, do not hesitate. You can go on with everything else and be expert in whatever else you do, but make the center core, the root, your relationship with Krishna and your improvement in devotional service. Let's see two more. Thanks, Ram. Good stuff as usual. I need a little human contact. Just got off a plane. Help me out here. Okay, Arjun.
Hare Krishna Gurudev. I was meditating on the idea that we either get better or get worse, and there's no staying the same. And so I was thinking about how once you chant once you chant the Mahamantra, you can't take that back. You've already made that progress. And so we can just keep chanting and we might as well just do our rounds and keep progressing because if we don't, then we'll fade.
Yeah, nice. Spoken like a real champion. Okay, Bhakti Manya.
Hare Krishna. Um, I was thinking about your last point where you said that Krishna knows you already, so open your heart towards him. And I find that so wonderful because sometimes when I'm chanting, it feels like I'm talking to someone that maybe feels far away or out of reach, but reminding myself that Krishna is our well-wisher and he knows us and we know ourselves in this body, in this lifetime, but we don't even know how many births that we've taken in the past and how he's been with us um, all that time. So that really like warmed my heart thinking about that. And I was also thinking about the word where it comes surit and like um, Bhoktaram Yagatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. And how Krishna is the Surat, like our ever well-wisher. Yeah.
Suhrit, the good person in our heart who knows us perfectly. Well, great. Good progress chanting this morning for Japa Jolt. I'm so overjoyed. I'll just say overjoyed. So overjoyed is kind of a too much. I'm overjoyed to not I'm overjoyed to see you. And thank you very much for keeping the vibration going. It really improves the world, and it's the smartest thing that you can do every day is give your heartfelt attention to chanting the Mahāmantra. It really, really is, and it's vetted by the great authorities. So just follow in their footsteps. There's a lot of people you can follow in this world, but if you compare them to Shukadeva Goswami, they're not going to come up to the mark. So just take it from his lotus mouth that this is the best process. And don't worry about figuring everything out. Do your due diligence to understand your relationship with Krishna through the Shastra and the holy name and so forth. But don't worry. It's the best process. It really is. Dear Srila Prabhupada, dear Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shri Panchatattva, Sri Harinam Prabhu, if you so desire, please give us the intelligence to ceaselessly speak your holy names, to meditate on them within our hearts, and take full shelter of you. Thank you for considering our request. Om Tat Sat. Everyone agrees with this prayer in whole or in part. Please unmute and say Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Panchakalpaduruscha kripasinabhevacha patitanam pavanibhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha anantakoti vaishnaviniki jai gaur prem anande. Haribo. See you on the marg somewhere.